All of the movies I'm about to talk about, I love, but there are just these little parts in them that crop up out of nowhere that get me every time. I absolutely cannot stand these parts. How these scenes didn't end up on the cutting room floor, I'll never know. I thought of a different couple of ways to do this, but everyone seems to like top 5 things, so without further ado, I give you the top 5 scenes I hate in movies I love. Number 5.
I were king of the forest.
Oh my god, I hate this scene. Basically, all that's happening here is that the gang from The Wizard of Oz is told, okay, I'll go see the wizard and see if he wants to let you in. So instead of just fading out and fading back in again with 10 minutes later, we have to listen to a completely pointless song about the lion wanting to be king of the forest. We are actually being forced to watch these people hang out in a waiting room. Not only that, but the song was just ill-conceived. The Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man were all given specific motivations each. They want a brain, a heart, and courage. The Lion never expressed any interest in being king of anything until they got here, and now he won't shut up about it. This gives the Lion 2 motivations, whereas everyone else still has only 1. I mean, why not make it all even again and sing about how the Scarecrow wants to be the Prime Minister of Great Britain, or how the Tin Man wants to replace Rupert Murdoch as a business mogul? It's just pointless. Number 4. This one comes from Singing in the Rain, and once again we have a scene that is essentially one big timeout, and we're all just doing nothing but waiting for them to get back to the actual movie. This one is even more off the point than the Lions song. Don Lockwood comes up to someone working on the movie they're making and says, hey, I got a great idea for this one scene in the movie we're making, and then we, the audience, have to watch that scene. One full scene to a movie that we are never going to see. Guys, we're already watching a movie. The actual movie. What the hell is the point of this? And it just goes on forever. I mean, it's one of the most indulgent scenes I've ever witnessed. I really can't help but see it as Gene Kelly stroking his big fat ego. Everyone look at me! Look at me! Number 3.
Climb every mountain.
Oh!
High and low.
You know, The Sound of Music is one of the greatest musicals of all time, but I always felt like this part brought that musical to a screeching halt. It is a one-on-one, one-sided conversation between Maria and one of the nuns. This nun doesn't have anything to say to her but follow your dreams, and boy does she say it slow. I mean, I know this is a matter of opinion, but I don't think the song is very good. It's much slower and off the point than all of the other songs in the film, and the nun seems to be paying more attention to the song than Maria. Even when she's already made her point 3 times, she still has to make it just more shrill. I can't turn the volume down enough! Number 2.
Would you like a piece of chocolate cake?
I'm not even sure this really counts as a scene. It's this little part they stuck in there in Spider-Man 2 that was so inexplicable, I'm still mystified by it today. The movie is going along at a good pace when all of a sudden the girl is like, hey, you want some chocolate cake? And he's like, sure. So they go have chocolate cake, and then they move on. What? I mean, it shouldn't be that big a deal, I know, but why would you actually write this minutia into the film? It's just so random, albeit very small. What? I did a Google search and listened to the DVD commentary to find out what was up with that scene, and have found nothing. Maybe there was a reason for this being in there and I just haven't found it, but until I do, this is just too out of place for me to overlook. Ugh. And the number 1 scene I hate in a movie I love...
Is that what you came here to say? Mainly.
And also that I'm proud. Very proud to be your son.
That's right, it's from one of my all-time favorite movies, Star Trek II. I was going to make a note of this scene in the epilogue, but I forgot. So let's talk about it here. As you know, whenever a movie is made, the studio always tries to make changes, and those changes are almost never good. But with this scene, the studio suggested a change that I actually completely agree with. Get rid of the scene. It sucks. I can't remember who it was, but one of the studio guys actually said to Nick Meyer, if I suddenly found out that Kirk was my dad, the first thing I'd ask him is, where the hell have you been all my life? And you know what? He's absolutely right. David didn't like Kirk before he learned that Kirk was his father. Learning that someone he hated this whole time was actually an absentee parent would likely make him lash out at him even more. But instead we get, well, I mean, I hated you so much that I naturally assumed you murdered everyone on Regular One, but now that I know that you're my dad, I love you! Hugs! Bullshit. So there you have it. The top 5 scenes I hate in movies I love.